everybody. Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever it is your time. Welcome to the Irreverent Therapists. I'm Marilyn Bradford, and I am joined by my partner in crime, Pam Houghteling.
Hello, everybody.
And today's episode is called When Things Don't Go Your Way. I had it all planned out. Why didn't you do it the way I asked you to? I can't believe my plane just canceled. My flight's delayed another 3 hours and I'll miss my connection. Sometimes life does not go as planned. That's a given for all of us. It's your reaction or how you deal with it that decides how your life is going to be from now on. Do you resist and react? Get angry and yell and curse the world, or perhaps an individual? Or do you ask questions and look for how you might change things? Join us for an exploration of what's possible when things don't go your way. Yoo-hoo!
I have no experience with things not going my way. How about you, Marilyn?
No, none at all. Never happens that way. I think 3 times yesterday.
So is there anything particular that pops for you that you want to start as an example of this?
Well, I had yesterday all planned out. So I'm leaving on a big trip. And and my cleaning person was here. And I wanted to get everything set up for my cat sitter. And it's little things. Have you ever noticed that? We think it's the big things like a flight being canceled. And that's true too. But I use this particular type of water. The grocery store's out, which means I have to go all the way to Target, which is like at the other end of the city, to get it. I was supposed to meet with this person and do bars, and she texted and she said, I'm going to be late and I have to leave in an hour and 15 minutes and we have to do the orientation. Okay, we're not doing bars. And my computer was doing weird. I have a new computer, but I have an old computer too. And all of a sudden the screen is black on it. I don't think I'm going to have time to get it fixed before I leave, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But it was so interesting to me knowing we were going into this when things don't go as planned, because I was kind of like, okay, no Aquafina. Now what?
Yeah.
Do I have time? Because I also needed to get back before the cleaning lady left. Do I have time to run down to Target, get the Aquafina, get back, drop my dry cleaning off, get my, all of this stuff. Oh, and I got to the dry cleaners and there were like 8 people deep because this dry cleaners is going out of business and we all love it. And we're all trying to get things in last minute.
I need to pick my stuff up. Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, anyhow, I've been doing this a long time and using the access tools. So what's right about this, I'm not getting. Okay, now what's possible? And I ended the day very happily.
Good.
Having a glass of wine and reading my book. I have a new book.
Well, as you were talking, what strikes me is so often, like when we have everything planned out, there's a lot going on. I'm going to do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
It's about trying to control things.
Oh,
right?
Yes.
It's about trying, okay, if I can keep on top of it all, if I can control the outcomes, then I'm good. And so when things go wrong, it's to me, it's kind of like how much have you got that going on is a big part of whether you can just ride the wave of it or you get really out of sorts with it. I mean, I have someone I know very well who is horrible with change, like needs to know way in advance if something's going to change. And if it changes suddenly, gets very, discombobulated and stuff. And, as a way of being in the world, that's a very challenging way to be because so often things do change. Sometimes with notice and sometimes not. And, but for this person, it's like, well, if it doesn't change, if I can keep the change to be as slow as I'm comfortable with, then I'm okay. And if I can't, then I'm not.
Yeah.
And that's not a very realistic way to be in the world.
It also makes you the effect
of
everything. And
Yeah.
one of the things I was considering yesterday, as all these little odd things didn't go as planned, was how significant is this? If I can't get the right water, oh well, we'll try something different.
Yeah.
If I don't get my bars run today, well, what else is possible? I think I'll just sit there and do this. There are all kinds of ways that we limit ourselves and lock ourselves in. I think last week's show was on what are we making significant?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're making any of these things significant, and sometimes they're bigger than others, and I get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, that can be something that really helps to derail you.
Yeah. Well, it's like something like when you said your bars session got canceled. Well, bars happens to be something that if you can have your bars run, it's a energy,
Yes.
an energy modality, access bars, and it actually helps make things less significant. Like it releases energetically the things that you are holding on to, and so having your bars run can make it much easier to handle all these changes. So on the one hand, getting your bar session canceled is like, okay, well, now I'm not getting my bars run. It also would have helped you.
It would have been a great contribution.
It would have been a great contribution. But if you go along getting your bars run regularly, then, one session being canceled is like, okay. Yeah.
And the other thing is to always look at what's replacing what's going on.
Yeah.
So this is a friend of mine who's going to cat sit. She's the most thorough person I've ever met. I have something all printed out, and it was actually really fun because she's like, well, now what about this? Do you feed this then? And I'm like, I love you. Thank you so much.
You're more organized than me.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And one way, I'm not organized about everything, but I'm very organized about my cat, actually. But it was just such a relief to have her ask all those questions, and she's taking notes, and she's, I know, and the kitty likes her. So I know that it is set today in this 10 seconds to go forward smoothly. But once again, you never know.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. You can't know. And for you can't know the details for sure. You can know an energy. And the more you try to control every single detail, the more you're apt to get caught up with something not going your way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that we did significance last week and then this now, because to me, it's the significance you're putting on things, the attempt to control, and basically the judgments you have about something that can make a huge difference in having ease when things don't go your way or having a hard time. Like one of the examples, because, a lot of us travel, we just had Thanksgiving in the US, which is like the highest travel weekend, of the year or something. And a lot of things can go wrong with that travel and delays and stuff. And Marilyn and I have a friend who talks about, one time when a flight was delayed and everyone was going up to the counter being angry at the ticket person. And he went up to the counter saying, how are you doing? This is not an easy day for you, is it? Gave her a big smile, and he got on a plane because he wasn't in that reaction of, oh my God, I can't believe I'm not going to get there. And what about this? And what about that? And, being mad at the airline person for something they have no control over.
Right.
So how you choose to be in the situation where something's going wrong, I'm putting that in quotes, it has a huge amount to do with whether you're having a bad day with it or a good day with it. Because what if things can be going wrong and you can have a good day and be enjoying yourself no matter what?
Yes, absolutely. Well, and that choice to, I don't like the word react, because he wasn't really reacting. He was choosing something different. we always have a choice when an incident comes up
Mhm.
about what we're going to do with it.
Yeah.
I had a very bizarre incident come up a couple of weeks ago. I have some favorite restaurants, and there's one hostess, and they have a few hostess managers. It's
Mhm.
who has always been a little overly friendly. I'm like, we're not friends. Hello. And I like to chat with people. I'm always pleasant and I tip well and all of that. But there was this really weird incident. And I was sitting in an area that had a lot of people in it. And I was seated by someone else, and she came up and put her arm around me and kissed me on the cheek. And I'm like, oh, this so doesn't work for me. And I was like, okay, I could make a scene now. I mean, this is someone I have no contact with except as the hostess of this restaurant.
So basically, she's violating your boundaries.
Yeah, totally. I said, okay, what do I want to do? I'm not going to make a scene. So I'm like, I'm going to be with it and ask questions, which is what I did. And so the next time I went in, I just said very quietly, I need to speak with a manager. I wasn't sure which of the people there were managers. And they have a big staff because they want to make sure everybody gets really well treated. And I went and told the manager. She was just like, oh. And she says, I'll tell the owner. She said that never, she kept apologizing. I'm like, you didn't do it. It's not your fault. I didn't overreact, which I might have done years ago. Like, oh my God, I can't believe it. That's almost sexual abuse. Anyway, I was just like, you know what? And so the manager, I'm not the manager, the owner called me a day later. And I just said, this is just, and he was apologizing while also I think he was, is she going to sue us? Is she going to do that? You know? Yeah. I said, it really doesn't work for me. And then I said it, and he said, I totally get it. That's completely inappropriate. And then at the end, I said, I don't want her touching me. And he said, she shouldn't be touching anybody, like putting her hand on their shoulder. I said, I agree. And he said, I will talk with her. Yeah. So when I went in 2 nights ago, it was great. The whole rest of the staff organized it so that she was gone there, and they were attending to me, you know, like, is everything okay? And I think it solved it all. But the point was, and I'm like, as long as she's not going to come near me, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And I love this place.
Well, and what I want to point out about what you just said is, because so often people can think, well, my choices are, you know, I can react and get something changed, or I can be a doormat and try to not let it bother me. And what you're talking about isn't either of those.
No.
It's be aware of what works for you and what doesn't. Take the action required to have something show up in a way that does work for you. But without having to go into a big reaction and emotional thing to feel like that's what's needed to make it change.
Yes. So. And I'm sure it got talked about among the staff, because you could just, various people were coming up and saying, how are you doing? And I'm like,
let's take care of Marilyn.
This is a lovely meal. And it was. They have some new things on the menu.
Yeah.
However, I think they also all saw that I wasn't making a huge thing about it. I wasn't making it public.
You weren't making everybody wrong.
I wasn't making everybody wrong. I didn't write a review. Oh my God, you know, and that you have to look at what your choices create. Yeah. And that's a lot of what this is about, really. When things don't go your way, what are different choices going to create for you?
Right. Right. And, you know, that I love what you put in the description. Ask questions, look for, you know, what is available to you, whether it's, you know, the delay at the airplane, or what you're talking about at the restaurant, or just, you know, you've got 10 things you need to get done today and you only manage to get to 5 of them because all these little things keep happening.
Right.
You know, to me, I'll tell you this story. When I was straight out of high school, I worked at a bank. I got trained as a bank teller, and I was really good at it. So they switched me out of training and into a very busy bank. right away.
Right away.
I was like taking a year off, before going to college. I was like, I'm just going to work and make some money and travel and stuff. And I found it quite stressful at the big bank. Right. And then I watched Mary Poppins. It was on, back in the day when there was just TV and something was on or it wasn't. But, and I went into the bank the next day and I was like, I'm going to have a good day. Yes, there's angry people at the waiting in line. And I it showed me the power of my point of view. Mm-hmm. Because I chose to have a great day and I did. And I didn't let any of everybody else's stresses and urgency and stuff get to me. Mm-hmm. And it really taught me that there's a huge amount of what's going on.
Yes.
Like I can't change that this person's standing here being obnoxious about their bank account, but how I let it affect me or not.
Yes.
And affect my day or not is completely up to me.
Yes. Well, and that's really true it's true all the time. And if you're in a situation where there's lots of people upset, like at a flight delay, whose universe are you in? Are you joining everybody? Or are you going, okay, my universe or theirs, my universe, what can I choose is going to make this easier for me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I think I've talked about this. My daughter's in college and she'll call me and she's like, Mom, I'm freaked out about school. And I'll ask her like, okay, so what have you got going on? And she's on top of all her assignments. And I'm like, is this yours or are you aware of everybody else's freak out? And she's like, oh, everybody else's. And then she takes a deep breath and then she's having a good day because she knows she's not at the effect of that energy. She's aware of it, but she doesn't have to jump into it.
Yes, exactly.
So,
yeah. So just remember, you have choice because I guarantee it, there are going to be times when things don't go your way.
Yeah, just a few. So shall I cue the music?
Cue the music. Thank you, everybody.